I-Team hidden cameras raise the question, when is a police officer really not a police officer?
The I-Team's Tom Merriman joining us now with some answers, and I thought there were some pretty strict rules, Tom, about who can wear a badge, who can have a uniform on, those kinds of things.
Who can make arrests, who can do search. Hey, you're absolutely right. In Ohio, in order to be a certified peace officer, state law requires you to complete over 500 hours of training. This is serious business. But leave it to Lindale. They found a loophole.
Racing to the airport or late for work, there's a good chance you'll pass through here. Lindale, the most notorious speed trap in Northeast Ohio.
Lindale is the prime example of the abuse that goes on in small villages with mayor's courts.
Can I ask you to turn off the camera for me?
Why is that?
I've been ordered to do so.
Closed to cameras, but open to cash. They also take Visa and MasterCard. Lindale's mayor's court generates about $700,000 a year, 80% of the village budget.
It's all about money. It's not law enforcement.
State Rep Larry Wilpert is fighting to shut it down.
It's an embarrassment for the state of Ohio.
We're active.
Now the I-Team's learned some of Lindale's active officers aren't really cops at all.
Do you think they're putting the public at risk here?
I have grave concerns about that.
It's not uncommon for departments to use civilian auxiliaries for minor duties.
Traffic vest for when you're outside doing traffic duty.
Cleveland requires 48 hours of training.
Weapons? We don't have any weapons.
The uniforms are totally different. The patches are different. The badges are different. They're not anything like us.
Highway patrol auxiliaries wear distinct uniforms as well.
A12.
Assigned to a trooper, they have no law enforcement authority. They're simply there to help.
That's my weapon. Like I said, I'd probably rather not use it because of the mess it makes.
And yet the patrol puts auxiliaries through 12 weekends of class. Everything from use of force, self-defense, to civil rights.
You just cannot go out there without being trained. I mean, it's just impossible.
Freeway traffic stops are one of the most dangerous situations law enforcement can face.
It is literally life and death. And it is literally doing the right thing every time.
But venture into the 4-block village of Lindale, and that bright line between real cops and civilian volunteers gets pretty blurry.
One of these men is a certified police officer. The other is a tow truck driver.
He's out on the road. He's in a uniform.
Correct.
Exactly as yours. And that's not an accident.
No.
If you could read the small print on his badge in the dark, you'd discover Dale Kuffner Jr., the man on the right, is a civilian.
It's reasonable for a motorist to believe that that's a police officer.
Yeah, they may very well believe that, yes.
State law empowers villages to decide for themselves how many hours of law enforcement training an auxiliary volunteer is required to complete.
We're within Ohio law.
Lindale has decided that number should be 0.
Aren't you asking for trouble?
Any police officer out there is asking for trouble.
They're not police officers.
No, they're assisting a police officer.
They ride with a certified officer.
And I'm putting it on my police officers. They need to be the trained ones.
The guy off the street doesn't need anything.
Absolutely, but I don't have it.
What they do have are tasers. Each auxiliary wears a taser on his belt. In fact, the only training these civilian volunteers receive is how to use a taser and how to fire the cruiser's shotgun.
Wow.
Tommy Doris is executive director of the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy.
To me, what that's doing is it is giving this particular officer 2 options on how to handle something. That's the taser or the shotgun.
Would you feel better if I took the taser away from them?
Lindale claims their auxiliaries perform no police officer functions.
Nor do we give them any law enforcement authority.
I-Team hidden cameras tell a different story.
That's Dale Kuffner.
Yes, it is.
And that's Chief Gary Teskey taking a suspected drunk driver into custody. He hands volunteer Dale Kuffner Jr. a clipboard. Kuffner moves the woman's car off the street, and the chief drives off with the suspect in the back seat of his cruiser. Kuffner makes a phone call. Then, alone in uniform, civilian Dale Kuffner Jr. begins to conduct a search, scouring through both the car and the woman's purse. Where's his right to go through that suspect's purse?
For his safety, an irate person, he may very well just been
There's
looking
no
for a
irate
weapon.
person anywhere near there. She's long gone in handcuffs. She's in jail in Lindale.
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean there's no danger there, and he wants to do it for his own safety.
It's unclear how counting the woman's cash helped keep Kuffner safe.
It looks like he's performing the functions of a peace officer. We started this interview, you said they don't do that.
No, they don't.
Well, here they are.
No, you have a picture, Tom.
I have video.
If someone doesn't have police powers, they don't have the authority to do police duties, which would include searching a purse.
The search ended when a truck from Kuffner Towing showed up and hauled the car away. Both Dale Kuffner and Chief Teskey declined to be interviewed.
Busy man.
I imagine the demands are overwhelming.
Law enforcement, it's a busy job.
4 blocks?
It's just ridiculous. It's like boss hog justice that you saw in the Dukes of Hazzard. No one can control them. They can do their own thing. They're in their own world.
A 4-block world, which over 200,000 people pass through every day, completely unaware the cop rifling through their purse may just be a guy off the street, armed with a taser.
Now, Representative Wilpert says it's time for the state to establish standards for auxiliary officers. He is also pushing legislation which would strip small villages like Lindale of their authority to operate mayor's courts.
But, Tom, what about that towing arrangement? That's got to be a conflict of interest, right?
Well, at a minimum, there's an appearance problem here. Dale Kuffner Jr. works for Kuffner Towing, a company owned by his father, the same company which tows cars for Lindale. The village insists Kuffner Jr. plays no role in deciding which cars get towed. So they say there's no conflict. We'll have to wait and see whether a higher power from the state has a different opinion.
I think there was more control in the Dukes of Hazzard. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Tom.